Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Anxiety, emotional flooding, feeling like you can't breathe. You know what it's like. If this is you, it is like having a high-powered race car where you have got the accelerator pushed all the way to the floor and the brake jammed on at the same time. So what do? That's what I'm here to talk to you about today on Ask Me Anything for Your Success. Instead of going over several questions like I typically do on this program, I'm only addressing this one because I've had so many people reach out to me just in the last few days saying, what is it that I can do about this? Okay. By the way, I've experienced it myself. I lived with a medical condition for years where my adrenal glands were turned on 24/7. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. Why couldn't I get a handle on this? A lot of shame wrapped around that when we feel like we've got a problem that just keeps getting worse. So I would wake up in the morning and it wasn't like, oh, what's next? It was, what's next? So I know exactly where you are if this is you, because I've been there myself. And I'm here to tell you that it does not have to be this way. And if you're new to my world, okay, who am I? Dawn Ferguson. I'm a certified hypnotist as well as a CI certified instructor. I train others to assist people with these very challenges. And this is what I want to give you today. The 3-step system to take you from overwhelm into outstanding. By the way, if you happen to be in the medical community, I already know I'm not supposed to use the word anxiety. No need to reach out and decide to give me a slap on the hand. Why is that? Because they took the word anxiety and they turned it into a diagnosis code that says you potentially need medication to get a handle on it. And you know what? For some people, that is true. There's nothing wrong with that to assist you. But that's not for everybody. And so if you feel like maybe, you want to see what else might be out there that could assist you, that's why I'm here today. What are we going to go over? Well, we're going to go over the 3 steps that cause the challenge and then the 3 steps that can begin to get you resolution. We're going to talk about the punishment didn't fit the crime. That's step number 1. Step number 2, shame sucks. And it sucks the life right out of you. And then step number 3, desperately seeking success, but in a dysfunctional way. So we're going to go back to the potential origins of the challenge you're experiencing. The punishment didn't fit the crime. At some point, a younger you, and when I say younger you, it could have been a year ago. It could have been a decade ago. But a younger you went through an experience where you were wounded to your very core. Now, that experience could have been so strong with emotion that it only had to happen one time, or it could have happened repeatedly, what's known as spaced repetition. But something happened to you that said, you're broken. You're flawed and you cannot be fixed. And it could have been something as simple as you being a little kid and, hey, you're going to help set the dinner table. And you dropped one of the plates, one of the glasses. Maybe it broke, maybe it didn't. But the authority figure that was around you at that time attacked you in such a way that the punishment did not fit the crime. They're like, what are you stupid? What, you can't handle anything, can you? So they didn't make it about the action. They made it about you. And so then what's known as an imprint took place. An imprint is simply a filter that we have that has a set of criteria that says this is what I allow in because it meets this criteria. And now I'm going to continue to look for people, places, and things that are going to reinforce this imprint. We have a lot of imprints that are very healthy, and we got some ones that will absolutely destroy us. And maybe you're already experiencing that because your powerful mind took on at that point the meaning of that imprint, which was you can't handle anything. See, it wasn't that the activity, you didn't have the skill set for it. It's that who you are at your very foundation is broken. So that's number one. That's what can create the experience where we feel out of control because we did not have the skill set for the emotional flooding that came next. And that leads us to step number 2, shame. And shame sucks the life right out of us. See, there's a difference between guilt and shame. At one point in my life in business, I had what I call my Jewish mother who taught me about guilt. Guess what? She was right. Guilt is phenomenal because guilt says that we're taking an action that violates our values. So we either need to take a look at our actions and upgrade them, or we need to take a look at our values and upgrade them. There's nothing wrong with guilt. But shame says that there's nothing that can fix us, that we are so broken, nobody's going to be able to put us back together. And that shame can show up in one of 4 ways: that we feel abandoned, whatever left us. It's what's known as the core 4. Whatever left us, we can't ever count on anything being there for us again. Or it left us because we did something. So now we're going to be rejected. And it left us and we're going to be rejected. The third wound is because we were unworthy. We were not good enough. Or maybe you do the fourth one, you're a peak performer, and you go all the way to the top and you incorporate all 4 of them. You were abandoned, so you will continue to be rejected because you weren't good enough. And now you will continue to seek out people, places, and things that will invalidate you and continue to show you that you should be ashamed of yourself. Once we have this type of imprint, we move to step 3, which is desperately seeking success dysfunctionally. Because after we have an emotion that continues 3 weeks or longer, our very powerful mind, known as the subconscious, goes into what's known as emotional optimization. We continue to look for the things that will reinforce that imprint because our subconscious mind cannot judge. It cannot choose. It's like a computer. It runs the program it's been given. And if you were given the program, you should be rejected. You should be abandoned. You should be unworthy. You should continue to find people that will reinforce all of this. That's what you continue to seek out. But then the mind says, we need to accelerate it. So whatever direction you're heading, whether it's progress or it's pain, the mind says, yeah, let's accelerate this. See, when you're wounded to your core, it causes extreme shame. And this is behavioral science. This is not me. This is behavioral science. This is telling us this is how our system works, that when we experience shame, that we are broken, we are flawed, and we cannot be fixed. It's not just emotional pain. It turns into physical pain. And so the mind knows that if we're in physical pain, we are apt to be attacked again. So it has to develop a way to distract us, a way to cope with that physical pain. And that's when anxiety comes in. Anxiety is actually our mind's way of going, we can't have it settle all the way down into the physical plane, because then we might not be able to get away from what's coming after us. So we're going to turn on anxiety and make us super sensitive, hyper aware to everything that could hurt us. And then you start accelerating that. So it started out with one area, and now how many things are you in complete avoidance around because they could potentially hurt you? It is not your fault, but yet you have to take 100% responsibility for moving forward. So that's the 3-step system that I use, that I teach all of my clients, that I want to share with you, that takes you from overwhelm into outstanding. What is the very first step? The very first step is those emotions of anxiety are not going to go away. We've got to learn how to use them instead of them using us. See, the area of the brain that fires off with anxiety is the same area that fires off with excitement. The brain, the subconscious, is used to getting this emotional charge. This is the reason you can't make anxiety go away. You have to learn and retrain your powerful mind on how you're going to use it. So I give my clients what's known as an authoritative post-hypnotic. It is a tool that I give them in the hypnotic state, because then we're dealing directly with the subconscious that's experiencing all of this flood of emotions. And it's how they're going to take authority over those emotions after the hypnosis session is completed. That's why it's authoritative. So you have to have a tool that tells the mind when the anxiety shows up, it's going to convert it into extra energy for success. It's going to convert it into focus, because anxiety is hyper-focus, but now it's going to be hyper-focus on all the opportunities to move you forward. It's going to take that energy and it's going to say, you know what? Let's convert it down into the physical to be able to take actions that are going to move us forward rapidly. You've been taking actions of avoidance. Now we need to move those actions into acceleration for what's going to work for you. Okay, so that's step number 1. The emotions are not going to go away. What you have to do is you have to take control and command of them and begin to say, this is how I'm going to use it. So that's step number 1. Step number 2. The wounded part of you that feels the shame and says, I'm broken. Well, yeah, it can feel broken because it keeps trying to show up without a skill set, without a competency to be better, when it was never designed to do that. Remember, the punishment that you experienced did not fit the crime. So we have to release that younger part of you from showing up and going, I need to show up in a way to be punished because that's how I am. This younger you, if you think of children and the energy and the exuberance and the joy that they possess, when they're allowed to be who they really are, not what someone else wanted them to be so that someone else could be okay with their life. We need to allow that younger you to quit trying to show up in an adult world with the mindset of, I need to make things okay for everybody else, because that younger you will continue to do that at the expense of yourself. We need to rewrite that contract and says, no, younger you, what are you phenomenal at? That's what you're supposed to be doing in life. That's what's going to free up the energy. It feels like a weight has been lifted or shackles have been let go. So that's step number 2, as we release the child from the original imprint and we allow it to relearn how to experience joy in life again. But that is not enough. Then we need to go into step number 3. Step number 3 is when we activate the part of you. You might call it inner advisor, higher self, soul self, head MF in charge, whatever the name is. There's a part of you that has amassed a tremendous amount of wisdom and knowledge around the challenge that you're experiencing. It just hasn't been able to fulfill it and act on it because the space that it was supposed to take up was held by that child experiencing shame and looking for experiences that would continue to validate it. Well, now we have an opening. And so we activate that higher part of you that says, you know what? I got the skill set to be able to move through. I am now competent. And I'm going to act on that competency because, see, when you act on competency on a daily basis, you use the tools to turn that energy into what you need to get more done with less effort. It only takes 2-3 days and you start feeling more confident. And then when you feel confident, your mind looks for ways to emotionally optimize. Talked about that earlier. And when you emotionally optimize, now you begin to feel outstanding. So in as little as 3 weeks, your identity has been upgraded to this is who you really are. If you feel like I might be the one to be able to assist you with this, go to my website, canhypnosishelpyou.com. And this is what I'm going to recommend. Read what hypnosis is and what it is not on there so we don't have to waste any time on the coaching call that we're going to have. And then I want you to text the word anxiety to 636-699-7791 along with your time zone. And I'll shoot you back a couple of times I have available for us to chat. Now, on the page that I just sent you to, if you want to see that this process, this system might be the one that will move you into success, if you want to explore that a little further, because I know hypnosis can help you. I just don't know if I'm the one to help you. That's what we're going to be finding out. So I do not suggest that you use the button that says, set your coaching call here. Why is that? Because it'll be several days out. And then your anxiety will continue to build between now and then, and you will no-show me on the call. I know how this works. I've been doing this for 16 years. So go back over the process I gave you. And then if it makes sense that you want to explore, if I'm the one to help you with this system, it's called From Wound to Wealth. If I'm the one that's going to help you, let's find out by texting 636-699-7791 with the word anxiety and your time zone, and I will shoot you back a couple of consult times that I have available as soon as possible. You can do this, but to be able to turn the overwhelm into outstanding, number one, you got to use that energy. It is not going to go away. You've got to learn to convert it. Number two, you have to go back to the original wound that said you were broken, and this is how you have to be so you can upgrade it and release yourself from seeking out people, places, and things that will continue to reinforce the fact that you're wounded. And then step number three, you have to turn on your potential and bring it all the way down into the physical plane where it becomes part of your identity, not just something you think about. You can do this. I believe in you. And until you can develop that belief for yourself, borrow mine. So until we get together on your no-charge consult, blessings on your brilliance.